What's going on, everybody? This is Sonic Mix, and today I am going to do story time, episode 5. And for this episode, today, as of June 24th, 2013, today is the 6th anniversary of Chris Benoit, with the whole story that happened with him with the double homicide murder and what so forth. So in this video, I'm going to talk about where was I when I heard the story, how it happened, how did I hear about it, and maybe just give a little bit of a thought about Chris Benoit as to what happened, and then of course his professional career. So without further ado, this is Storytime, episode 5. The Chris Benoit story / Where Were You? I think that's probably what I'll call it, but maybe somewhere along those lines. So here we go. Chris Benoit. I have to admit, before his death, of course, phenomenal athlete. Probably the best technical wrestler in all of wrestling before his time when he died. And he had some very memorable matches. Him against Dean Malenko, him against Eddie Guerrero, him against Kurt Angle. But I think what people will remember him the most for is when he won the World Heavyweight Championship in that triple threat match when he fought Triple H and Shawn Michaels to become the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania 20 in Madison Square Garden in New York. So how did I hear about this? What happened? As usually what many people would say, where were you when this happened? Well, where was I when Chris Benoit? When Chris Benoit when Chris Benoit did the whole double homicide murder. So this is what happened. So, just normally I'm just sitting back, kicking back, relaxing, getting ready for the episode of Raw. It was actually a 3-hour episode of Raw where they were going to mention with this whole who killed Vince McMahon storyline, which in a way, I would be honest with you, it looked like it might have went in an interesting direction, but I think the plan was that Vince McMahon was just going to come out and be like, hey, I tricked you all. So I think that's what it was going to be. And if that's the case, I think it would have ended up being stupid anyway. So here I am in my family room. And once again, I'm sitting down, getting ready for an episode of Raw, and all of a sudden, it shows right there and then in memory of Chris Benoit. I think he was born in 1967, and then of course died in 2007. And then I remember it. Woo! Excuse me. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't mean to sneeze, but I had to get that one out. Anyway, continuing. So then it showed Vince McMahon in the center of the ring, and how he was saying that his character Vince McMahon was supposed to be dead, but in reality, Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and his son Daniel are dead. And I remember my mom and my dad, because they were into wrestling as well, and they know who Chris Benoit was as well, because of course they seen him on TV, and of course they were very saddened to hear the story. And of course I remember me and my mom watching it. Actually, me and my mom watched the whole thing start from beginning to end. My dad had to go to bed. I think he watched half of it. Then he had to go to bed because he had to. I think he had to get up. He had to get up early for something important for work. So I remember me and my mom, we were watching it, and I mean, my mom was saying, and even I was saying, who broke into their house, who broke in and either stabbed everybody or shot everybody. And I mean, I think that's what was going on in everybody's mind when they first heard this. I think the first thought was, who shot him or who stabbed him or something like that. Nobody didn't think about a double homicide murder. And then it wasn't until the next day. I remember it was the next day. I got up early. It was in the morning, and I saw my dad, and I said to my dad, "So have they brought up more news about Chris Benoit?" And my dad, of course, was already up before I was, and he heard on the news that it was a double homicide murder, or as in Chris Benoit murdered his wife and son, and then of course killed himself later on. And this caught me by a big time surprise, because it's like, how's that possible? I mean, because it's like, they said that he went home for some type of an emergency, and then to find out that it was a double homicide murder. And yeah, it's kind of like mind-blowing the more that you think about it. And then of course, I remember on ECW, when ECW was still on Sci-Fi on Tuesdays. I remember Vince McMahon coming out, and it was only like a 50-second little interview, or whatever you want to say. And I remember just like Vince McMahon, he said his thing, and he said that there would be no more mention of Mr. Benoit's name tonight. And that was it. There wasn't another tribute, which in a way, because I guess from what they heard was the double homicide murder, they probably felt, oh, well, we shouldn't do another tribute. But definitely, probably one of the biggest tragedies in all of wrestling history. But of course, there are still a little bit of clues, because they announced the double, of course, if it was Monday. Yeah, they basically announced that it was a double homicide murder the next day after they found his body, which I think it was the Sunday night or the Monday morning or something like that. And I guess they were not able to find any other clues. There was a thing. I don't know if my friend created it or not, but there was this thing about like how Chris Benoit may not be the one that did it, and I don't know. I mean, some of the things might have looked true, but I don't know. But whatever happened that day is harder to explain, and it's very hard to believe that it's been 6 years already. 6 years that Chris Benoit did the whole double homicide murder, and you can bound to be pretty sure that WWE Raw won't be doing no tribute video package of him, because today is, like I said, today is June. Upon recording of this video, today is Monday, June 24th, and of course, today is Monday Night Raw. So once again, you can be bound to be sure that WWE won't be doing no video tribute package for Chris Benoit tonight. Maybe for Eddie Guerrero, but definitely not for Chris Benoit. And what do I have to say about it? I mean, what do I look at it? I mean, I think it is confusing, because it's like they immediately announced that it was a double homicide murder the next day, which is kind of odd, because it almost kind of sounds like it was like the authorities walked in, saw what they saw, walked out. Oh yeah, it's a double homicide, and then called it a day. But then again, at the same time, I mean, I'm pretty sure they were there for at least a month, maybe 2. And if they couldn't find any type of other clue, or if they couldn't find any type of other footprint that maybe somebody intervened or not intervened, broke in, or no other fingerprint, footprint, nothing like that. They couldn't find nothing of a different coding, I guess you could say, for another person to walk in, then I guess we are pretty much bound to believe that it was a double homicide murder, and that somehow Chris Benoit had the mind of a 90-year-old man and couldn't control himself. And you know, I mean, it's very sad to hear what happened. This is a tragedy. It's I would probably put it up there, like the top 10, top 5 worst tragedy stories in wrestling history. It's definitely up there, like top 10, maybe even top 5. I don't know if there is such thing as a list like that, but if there is, I'm pretty sure that if somebody were to mention it in their review or something, it probably would be on their top 10, maybe top 5, if it's that high up there. I guess that's really all I have to say about all in this video. I guess my final thought of Chris Benoit, you know, like I said, he was a tremendous athlete, phenomenal wrestler. I think he was probably one of those guys that when he won the World Heavyweight Championship, he felt like an underdog. That he was like that underdog that finally grasped the gold. And he worked his ass so hard to prove everybody wrong, that even though he was the underdog, that he wasn't going to give up until he grasped that gold. And he did. And you know what? What was I going to say? WrestleMania 20 triple threat match is probably going to be still to this day, and even if WWE won't show it, for those that did see the match, and I saw it on pay-per-view on the comfort of my own home, it's definitely going to be one of the most memorable main event matches in WrestleMania history. And you know, there was I guess really quick just to mention this, CM Punk, Sheamus, and Zack Ryder, they were at this Comic-Con, and one of the fans mentioned to them, is WWE erasing Chris Benoit from the history books? And I remember watching that, and CM Punk, I gotta admit, he did a pretty damn good job of handling that question. And I mean, you know, CM Punk said it like it is. I mean, WWE, how do you want to say it? He's not erased from history. I mean, he's there, but they won't bring him up. I mean, if you look in the history of wrestling, he'll be there, but they're not going to promote him for what he did with the whole double homicide murder. So I definitely have to give CM Punk props for handling that question very, very professionally. And you know what? I mean, in a way, it's true. I mean, I know some people out there, I know they think he did it. I know others think that he didn't do it. And then there's some that might be in the middle, like, maybe he did it, but there's still something that doesn't sound right, or the other way around, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, he's never going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. He never will be. I don't even think he'll even be in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. I mean, even with the great attribute status that he got, I just don't think he will never, ever be in the Hall of Fame. And you know what? It's just like what CM Punk said. They don't want to promote someone who did what they did. I mean, whether he did it or didn't do it, they're not going to promote him, because it's like you're inducting someone who killed their wife and son, and if you put him in the Hall of Fame, it's like you brought him up. So I mean, but then again, I mean, if something crazy were to happen and Benoit was inducted, like I said, it probably wouldn't be the WWE Hall of Fame. It probably would be maybe the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Maybe, but like I said, in my opinion, I don't think he won't be inducted in neither nor. I guess just another quick thing about Chris Benoit, besides the fact that he was a phenomenal wrestler and a great guy from what I understand before the whole tragedy happened. Some of the most memorable matches that I've seen, him against Kurt Angle, those matches were always great. Him against Eddie Guerrero, those matches were always great. His matches with Triple H was good. His match against Dean Malenko was good. His WCW run, I would say, was pretty good. His debut when he came along with who was it? Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Eddie Guerrero on that one Raw episode back in, I think it was 2000. That was pretty epic. That was definitely something. So he's definitely had some great moments. And you know what? Speaking of CM Punk, it's a damn shame that we never ever got to see Chris Benoit versus CM Punk at Vengeance, the Night of Champions in 2007. Because that match would have definitely stole the show at that card, and it probably would have been the match of the night and the match that people would have talked about. And I think Chris Benoit was scheduled to win that, but then again, what happened? Johnny Nitro, can't talk today. Johnny Nitro comes out and wins the ECW title. But you know what? I think CM Punk and Chris Benoit is now one of those matches that it's now a dream match, but it's a dream match that will never happen. Well, alright then. Well, I wanted to bring this out. Like I said, today is the 6th anniversary of Chris Benoit. I hope you guys enjoy. Please leave me your comments. Tell me how you guys felt about the double homicide murder. Tell me where you guys were during the incident with Chris Benoit. As I cough. And, you know, I guess just for the final words, you know, phenomenal wrestler, great matches, and unfortunately, his life came to a very sad end. And then, like I said, not everybody has the answers, and I know many people have different opinions on this. So until then, you guys have a good one. Leave me your thoughts and comments. And until then, I'll talk to you guys later.